Good evening. The numbers we're about to show you are too big for most of us to wrap our heads around, but this is the cost of our new reality in this country, beginning with President Obama's proposed budget. $3.55 trillion. Federal deficit, $1.75 trillion. To help pay for all of it, tax hikes of almost $1 trillion. And how about this one? We learned today General Motors lost almost $31 billion last year. That's the equivalent of burning a $1,000 bill every minute. That is the problem the president has set out to fix. Now they get to fight over it all in Washington. We begin here tonight with White House correspondent Savannah Guthrie. Savannah, good evening.
Brian, good evening. The president's budget signals major policy shifts in health care, education, and energy, and it hits wealthy Americans with big tax hikes. The president's budget director hand-delivered it today, a 140-page budget overview with a big bottom line. $3.5 trillion in spending next year, a budget deficit of $1.75 trillion this year. More than numbers, the president says it's a blueprint for where he wants to take the country.
This budget is an honest accounting of where we are and where we intend to go.
The budget calls for $635 billion over 10 years as a down payment on health care reform, paid for in part by cuts in Medicare spending. On energy, the president wants to raise billions by charging companies for their carbon emissions. And in education, a huge increase in the Pell Grant program for college tuition and more government lending to students.
Is it too much? And I sure hope not. We face very large problems that need to be addressed.
But the president's plans must get through Congress, where today the old battle lines were redrawn.
Where's the restraint in spending? You know, this budget doubles the debt of the federal government in 5 years.
The era of big government is back, and Democrats are asking you to pay for it.
The president promises to cut the deficit in half by the end of his first term, in part by raising taxes on the wealthiest Americans, who will see higher income tax rates and less in the way of deductions. All told, the budget anticipates raising nearly $1 trillion over 10 years from wealthy taxpayers.
That's what he campaigned on, instituting fairness more fairness in our system. I think that's what he's done.
The White House says this budget is more honest than previous ones because it accounts for natural disasters and war spending. But it assumes the economy will begin to turn around this year and grow robustly by 2011, a forecast advisors say is not too rosy.
We certainly are somewhat more optimistic, but certainly nothing out of the ballpark.
Well, with Wall Street still in crisis, the administration has budgeted for up to $750 billion in more potential bailouts, but they hope they'll never have to use that, Brian.
All right. Hey, Savannah, thanks. Savannah Guthrie from the White House.